boys and girls, it's time to go over our math solutions for our DMA. It's Wednesday. Yay, we're halfway through the week, and we're on DMA Week 32, Day 3. So let's go ahead and get started on our 4 problems for review. Again, these are to help keep your skills sharp. So I hope you guys are continuing to do your warm-ups before you do your lesson time. If so, this will help you keep very current on your skills for next year when you go to 4th grade. So let's start with the first problem. We have a missing number pattern problem. So it says write the missing numbers to finish this pattern. So we have the numbers 186, 180, and 174. So if you notice, the numbers are not increasing, they're decreasing. That means they're going from greater to less. So this tells us that we are subtracting. So up here we're going to write rule, and we know that we are going to use subtraction as part of our rule. So if we decide how many does it take to subtract from 186 to make 180, hopefully you would have said 6. We need to see if that pattern is true here as well. So if I subtract 6 from 180, will I get 174? So the answer is yes, because if I add 6 to 174, the 6 plus the 4 should give me a new 10 to add to the 70. So yes, we are subtracting 6. So now we need to continue this pattern and continue to subtract 6. So if we take 174, subtract 4, and then 2, which is 6, that would give us 170 minus 2 would be 168. If I take 168 and I subtract 6 from 8, that's going to give me 162. And if I subtract 162, I subtract another 6, because our rule is to subtract 6. I can subtract 2, then 4. So if I subtract 2, that's 160. Minus 4 would be 156. So those are our missing numbers in our pattern. If I were to continue and subtract 6 again, my next number would be 150, and we can continue to do that until we either reach 0 or a number that's close to 0 without going into our negative numbers. Our next problem asks us to estimate about how much does a refrigerator weigh. So if you remember, we talked about mass, and mass has to do with how much matter is made up of an object. So in this case, we're talking about a refrigerator. So we have kilograms and grams. Now, if you remember, kilograms, 1 kilogram is pretty close to 2 pounds. A gram is about a paper clip. So 90 paper clips for a refrigerator, or 180 pounds for a refrigerator. So if you were to say, this is more like 180 pounds or 90 kilograms, you'd be correct in your estimation of the weight for the refrigerator. Okay, let's move on to our subtraction problem. So just a reminder, these two numbers cannot be switched. We have to start with a total or a larger amount in order to subtract. We can take and use our break apart strategy if you like. Remember that we're keeping our place values. 4 minus 7. And then we start to subtract. So we have 800 minus 600 is 200. 30 minus 50. We cannot subtract 50 from this 30. So we have to borrow or regroup 100 into our tens place. That tells us that we have 130 or 10 groups of 10 that allows us to subtract. So if we subtract 50 from 130, we can subtract 30 and then 20 more, which would give us 80. Then we go ahead and subtract our ones. 4 minus 7. Again, we cannot subtract 7 from only 4. So it tells us that we need to regroup once again with 70 being borrowed, and that's what we get left. And we're going to regroup that 10 we just borrowed, and we're going to regroup it here as 14. Now we can subtract 7 from the 14. So if we subtract 7 from the 14, that leaves us with a difference of 7. So now we have our hundreds place, our tens place, and our ones place. And if we put that amount back together, we would have 177 as our difference. Now, in order to check this, we could use addition and take what we found to have left, add it back to the 657, and see if that adds back up to 834. That's how you would check your subtraction. We could also use an algorithm. So if we were to line up our place values, we know that we cannot subtract 7 from the 4, just like we weren't able to do it here. So we're borrowing a 10. Here we borrowed it from our answer, but here we're going to borrow it from the tens place, leaving us with 20. We take that 10 that we just borrowed and regroup it as 14. 14 minus 7 is 7, which is what we had here. Now we're going to take the 50 and subtract it from the 20. But we know that we cannot do that. So these two tens, we need more tens, and in order to find more tens, we need to borrow 100. That leaves us with 7. Now, when we're regrouping this 100, we're regrouping it as 10 tens. So now we have 12 tens, which is 120. So if I take the 12 tens and subtract 5 of them, I would have 7 tens left, which makes that 70, and 700 minus 600 leaves me with 100. So 177 is our difference. Okay, now we're going to take a look at our word problem here. And if you notice in our word problem, we're talking about Ian, and he's catching some fish. And it says Ian caught 4 fish during each hour that he fished. If he fished for 7 hours, how many fish did he catch? So we know that for every hour, we could draw a bar to represent a group of fish that he caught. So every bar can be an hour that he fished. And in that bar, we could put 4F. So 4 fish for that first hour. And as we continue, we would continue to draw bars for every hour or every group that he fished. And inside, we're placing 4 fish for every hour. And then we're going to place another bar. So now we're at 6 and 7. 7 bars with 4 fish in each bar. So if we take our understanding of those and we have 7 groups or 7 hours with 4 fish caught each hour, and we're representing that with fish each hour. And we want to know how many fish he caught total. How many fish did he catch? So we're looking for a product in this case. So we want total fish. So if we were to count by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. F could be 28 total fish that Ian caught. So we could say Ian caught 28 fish in 7 hours because each hour he caught 4 fish. So your explanation would be for that particular problem. So just a reminder, remember to use your bar diagrams to help you drawing a model. You're writing an equation and you're using your problem to label what each one of these numbers is representing in that equation. So we will see you tomorrow for day 4, which will end our week 32, and have a great day.